How we doing, guys? Welcome to the preview and the predicted lineup. Bayer Leverkusen versus Arsenal. Round of 16. Champions League football is back. And I can't wait to get started. And listen, there's been a lot of talk over the last few weeks about, easy draws and an easy pathway and all these types of things. And yes, we have been put on the more favourable side. Yes, we have got some teams that we should be beating. But ultimately, at this stage of the Champions League, you have to go out and earn the right to win those games. Because if you don't do the things that you should do right, it can very easily go wrong. And Bayer Leverkusen, they're not the side from a few years ago, under Xavi Alonso, when they had the likes of Granit Xhaka playing, the likes of Henkapié playing. They were an invincible. They're not the same team. Eric Ten Hag came in at the start of the season, and we know how that ended. And yeah, they're not as bad as they were then, but they're still sixth in the Bundesliga. And when you look at their results, there's a lot of inconsistencies. When you look at their Champions League results, there's a lot of inconsistencies. There's some results there that you look at and you think, what on earth happened in that game? And then you look at another result and you think, they won that one. It's just inconsistency. When you look at their Champions League matches, they drew 2-2 at home to Newcastle, but yet they won 2-0 against Man City at the Etihad. Now, granted, Man City made a whole host of changes for that game. I think that was a game where Pep Guardiola made a big mistake, made a whole host of changes, and really underestimated Leverkusen. And they've got some dangerous players, the likes of Grimaldo, especially from free kicks. Don't give any free kicks away with him about. And if you don't do, the things right that you should do, like I was saying, then you can come unstuck. At the weekend, they drew 3-3. So they do concede goals as well, whether they're home or away. We were very fortunate in the fact that we were playing Mansfield, and the majority of our main players, shall we say, got a rest and were able to sit back and relax with their feet up. The likes of Declan Rice, Subamendi, Gabriel, Saliba, Timber came on for about 20 odd minutes or so. But, for the majority, it was fine. And that's why it's really important at the moment, the draws that we're getting. And of course, the quarterfinal of the FA Cup, that draw's been made and we're playing Southampton. Again, another brilliant draw. Don't get me wrong, we can't go completely weak in that game and play a side like we did maybe against Wigan, just a few tweaks and changes here and there, because there's a place at Wembley at stake and a semi-final spot. And we've just got to keep on going. But that helps us because you may not have the intensity and, that kind of profile of game, like a Man City, for example. And I'm going to use them as an example because they're the side that we're fighting for with the title. And you look at their games and you look at their games coming up, and they've got Real Madrid, and then they've got to go to West Ham, who have been playing really well of late. And they're, fighting for their lives down there. Then they've got to play Real Madrid again. Then they're playing Arsenal in the Carabao Cup final. Then it's the international break. Then they come back from the international break. And they've now got to play Liverpool in the FA Cup quarter final. Then they've got to play Chelsea away. And then they've got to play Arsenal. Now, if they get past Real Madrid, they've then got to play either Atalanta or Bayern Munich, but I'm pretty confident it will be Bayern Munich, before they play Chelsea, and then before they play us. That's ridiculous. I wouldn't want that fixture list. So, we'll, take the nice draws while they're being handed out and everything. But I've said this already. Nobody was saying a word when we were drawing prime Barcelonas and prime Bayern Munichs every single season in the Champions League. Nobody cared when we were getting Man City or United or Liverpool in the early rounds of the FA Cup. Now all of a sudden, everything's just going along nicely and we're getting a little bit of luck in the draws. Everybody's up in arms about it. Tough, innit? But listen, we got to go and do our job. That's the most important thing. Go and get a win in Germany. Come back to the Emirates with any kind of win. And I think we've got 1 foot in the quarterfinals. And of course, away goals and all that doesn't count anymore. So a win's just very simple, a win. 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, doesn't matter. Go and get a win. And I can't say much more than that. So team lineup, I think, kind of takes care of itself. There might be some question marks in the forward areas, and I'll get onto that in a moment, what I would like to see. So with that said, let's go and get into the lineup. In goal, David Raya, straightforward, a player that had a nice weekend off, but he goes back into the side. Right back will be Jurriën Timber. Again, a straightforward one. Right centre-back, William Saliba. I do believe he will be fit for this game. Missed the last couple. Nothing major. He'll come back into the side. Left centre-back will be Gabriel. Again, a player that had his feet up at the weekend. So nice and, refreshed and ready. Left back will be Piero Hincapié. I've alluded to this already in case people don't understand, because he is on loan. He is eligible to play this game. There's very different rules in the Champions League to what there is in the Premier League, and he's allowed to play. And I think it was made clear this week as well that he will be an Arsenal player. It was only a loan deal that was sorted out because of FFP, situation, and to avoid that. And listen, he's playing very, very simple, and he'll enjoy going back to Leverkusen. He's loved by the fans and everybody out there. He was one of their invincibles, achieved so much with the club. And listen, now we're starting to see that, Hincapié, and I absolutely love this guy. Just everything he does. I love what he does. It's brilliant to see this kind of person in the team, and he's keeping Calafiori out of the side. And maybe 6 to 8 weeks ago, that was unthinkable, but very straightforward. In the midfield, Martin Zubimendi needed that break this week, and hopefully he's come back mentally and physically refreshed and everything else. Now, this is where I'm going to make a few little tweaks, and I will explain why. On the right-hand side, Noni Madueke, I feel that in games like this, there's going to be a lot of space, a lot of open areas to run into, and that is where Madueke can cause problems, and he can be dangerous. That's why I'm playing him there. And then in that 10 role, I'm going to be playing Bukayo Saka. Has played there, in a couple of games. Can rotate with Madueke, and like I said, there's going to be a lot of room in this game, a lot more than what there normally is in the Premier League anyway. So that's what I'm going to go with. Next to him, Declan Rice, a player that most definitely needed that break at the weekend. So again, hopefully he's back fit and ready and, firing mentally and physically. And then on the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Eberechi Eze. Given the form of Martinelli and Trossard, which has been terrible of late, I would try with Eze again on that left-hand side. But the difference now with Hincapié playing and playing the way he is, he will be the outlet constantly, outside, which means Eze doesn't have to stay out there, doesn't have to, try and be that winger, shall we say. He can focus on moving more inverted inside into those dangerous areas that he causes problems. And we already know at this stage of a season, this is where Eze comes to life. And he scores goals, creates goals, and he just has an unbelievable end to seasons. Done it at Crystal Palace multiple times. Look at last season in particular. And that's what I'm hoping. And I just feel that Nketiah will offer that outlet inside and out. And it will just mean that Eze can, concentrate on what he needs to do. And then up front as the main striker, Victor Gyökeres. Again, a game where we should have more space, should have more opportunities and more chances. And this should be where he comes into his own. And if he does and he scores goals, then so be it. And it's good. I don't think Kai Havertz will start or play yet. I feel that it's maybe just a little bit too soon. Started against Mansfield, obviously, and, got some good minutes in his legs. But I just feel with the Premier League coming up against Everton, that could be a game that he starts in. And yeah, just slowly but surely, because he's going to be very important. But for now, that's what I'm going to go with. And that there is my lineup. Let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree with that lineup. That's a very strong lineup. The bench will be strong as usual. And I think that's enough to get the job done and, get the victory and come back to the Emirates in a very good position. So very simple. Let me know what you think. And of course, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.